Welcome back, ladies, to the Feminine Purpose podcast, where I, Trish, a relationship harmony and feminine soft skills expert and coach, help women like yourself navigate back home to your feminine nature so you can create and attract the relationship harmony you truly desire. I am back after 2 weeks. I got sick again, not COVID this time, but I was not feeling well and energetically was just super off and very low energy. But I'm back, I'm feeling better, and I'm excited to get into today's episode. Also, a quick update, I will be shifting to a bi weekly podcast schedule, so you can expect to hear new episodes 2 weeks, same days and times, every other Wednesday now at 6 a.m. Pacific. So I subscribe to a few really good Substacks. And I stumbled upon a really fascinating article that I will actually link here to this podcast and to this YouTube video. And when I read this article, first and foremost, there were so many great nuggets of information, a lot of great research. But I was like, yes, all of this shit on this Substack article makes complete sense. And if you follow me on TikTok, you likely already saw a video I made on this particular research that I want to dive into today. But if you don't follow me on TikTok or you haven't seen that video, first of all, sis, what are you doing? Have you been living under a rock? Follow me on TikTok at Feminine Purpose because I constantly provide y'all with storytelling, walks and talks, and just overall a really great content that is not necessarily on the podcast. So highly suggest you check me out there. And so this article in particular that I will again be referencing today, I think is super important for women in relationships who may be struggling with sex, intimacy, attraction, and chemistry with their man. Did y'all know some evolutionary psychologists have argued that throughout human history, dominance has been more important than attractiveness for men's mating success? They concluded that women generally like physically formidable men. Essentially, this means that the more masculine, strong, dominant, and assertive a man is, the more likely he could successfully mate with other women versus men who are simply possibly just more attractive rather than masculine. So clearly, ladies, we all have types. Some women like a slim man, some women love a dad bod, but at the end of the day, it's really not necessarily about a man's looks. And before the toxic Tinas come for me, let me hit you with another statistic in case you weren't aware of this. Women are swiping on the same 5% of men on dating apps. Basically, online dating has completely changed gender dynamics. In my humble opinion, I think there has been an increase in women thinking they not only want, but now need and deserve the most hot or handsome man because she likely has slept with some pretty attractive dudes or matched with them on dating apps. But the harsh truth and reality, ladies, is that hookup culture and online dating is not a real accurate depiction of relationships and marriages. What I mean to say here is that casual hookups are not at all indicative of the real world. It's one thing for a guy to hook up with you. It's completely another thing for him to introduce you to his friends, introduce you to his mom, exclusively date you, and eventually buy you a $10,000 ring. I'm just calling out the facts, sis. If he hasn't done any or all of the above, simply put, your hookup was just another fun experience for him to feel more confident now to continue dating and pursuing other women he can easily access online until he finally meets the best woman he feels is his best true match. So while yes, women now more than ever have sexual experiences and access to hotter men than our female predecessors, it's simply put an illusion because you're not the one he's marrying. Let me say that again. That super hot guy that you matched with online, unless he has proposed to you and is marrying you, you are nothing to him. You are just another girl to him. So, anyways, with all that being said, how does that relate to masculinity? Women are disillusioned to think that a man's physical appearance is now more important than it ever was historically. Because in the past, again, men who exhibited more masculine traits like dominance, strength, power, wealth, provider mindset, those are the ones that typically become fathers. Have y'all ever seen Desper Housewives, the TV show? I've rewatched it at least twice with my husband, and I do want to call out a notable couple in the show that I think really showcases this theory that these evolutionary psychologists were onto. Gabby and Carlos, the Latino couple on the show. So Carlos is a typical immigrant man. He works very hard. He's a provider for his wife, Gabby. However, he's also super busy, making tons of cash, and he's rarely around. Gabby eventually finds attention from the pool boy, John. John's the young boy, clearly too young for Gabby. We know that already. But he's what we would probably describe as the more hot and attractive guy between him and Carlos, the husband. Eventually, John does fall in love with Gabby. However, Gabby would never even consider leaving Carlos for real because what would John provide her? John's abs are not going to pay for the bills. John's handsome face isn't going to protect Gabby if a burglar comes in and tries to hurt her. Carlos is hands down the better choice. And clearly, him being emotionally and also physically not available to Gabby is a big deal, which is why they have to work on through their marriage. If you watch the show, you already know they make it work after the infidelity, and it was a learning experience for them. Not a great one, obviously, but it was a part of their journey. The point is, though, is Gabby gives Carlos children, not John. This isn't to say a man's looks are not important. Obviously, they are. Of course, physical attraction is important. The difference with men and women, though, is that a man who is strong and showcases strong leadership, logic, decisiveness, and honestly, overall alpha energy, he will be the clear pick for a long-term partnership. Now, everything I just discussed, why does that matter to us ladies in the Feminine Purpose Inner Circle? If you are currently struggling in your relationship with your man, and a part of you may honestly deep down think he's not very masculine, that is likely a huge reason why you're not feeling fulfilled in your relationship. But let's be real, ladies. I'm a coach for women. I'm also a woman. I don't have any business telling a man how to act, nor should I be telling him how to act because that goes against our core beliefs, ladies, and practices that we have here as feminine women. We do not, under no circumstances, boss our husbands or boyfriends around how to speak. We simply express to them our desires. So, sis, do not go and hop off this episode and tell your man, I need you to be more masculine. No, 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 no. Do not fucking do that. So, what am I telling you then? You need to do some inner reflection. Are you truly in your femininity? And I'll ask you a few questions to just get you started. Do you tell him what to do? Do you nag and whine about stuff like the chores around the house? Do you mother him by dictating what he wears and how to speak? Do you compare him to other men around him? Do you pull away when he tries to initiate intimacy or showcase physical affection? Do you put him down directly or indirectly? Those are a few questions to ask yourself because honestly, even if we cannot tell our man to be more masculine, nor can we again teach him how to be masculine, one thing we can control is ourselves. The way you show up, the way you answer to those previous questions I just posed are 100% within your control. You have control over your side of the street. You have control over your actions. You have control over your femininity and how you heal your relationship with your femininity. Remember, ladies, polarity is when there are two opposing energies that create chemistry in a relationship, yin yang. If a woman is always in her masculine energy, the man will either A, leave because he ain't got no time for this, he's not about that life, and I don't blame him, or B, he will stay with you and slowly but surely morph into a feminine man because you pretty much gave him no choice. And I understand there is a risk. Okay, I get that. You could be super feminine now and have already worked on everything you can to be in your feminine nature, and he still isn't picking up on the changes or responding positively and still not leaning into his masculine energy. And while I would never say, go break up with his beta ass because that kind of advice is very dangerous. I don't know the context of your situation whatsoever. And even as your potential coach, if I were to work with you one on one, I would never tell you to do anything like that. You ultimately are the only one who knows what's best for you and your partner in your relationship. But you must use your discernment. I will say though, ladies, if in the beginning or at some point along the timeline of your guys' relationship, if you saw him ever exhibit masculine traits and you for sure have been attracted to those traits and him, there is a very strong chance he has that masculinity in him. And just to clarify, all men have masculinity in them, The difference is if you've already seen him exhibit some of those characteristics and traits and mentalities and embodiment, then there's a higher chance he can tap back into it versus if you've never seen it at all. I would think that the majority of you ladies tuning in are deeply in love with your partners, or else the feminine purpose mission wouldn't have appealed to you, right? So while you may be struggling with chemistry and desire for him right now, that doesn't mean it's not possible for the context of your marriage or relationship to change, especially if you're already married. I know we like to say that there are plenty of fish out there in the sea, but to be honest, ladies, it's not looking too great out there, especially as you get older. I always preach that we should fully explore and do everything we can with our current situation and change the context first. Then we can take a step back and determine if the situation is really the issue. Because here's the reality: you can leave your man now, bitch about how he's not being a man. You're the masculine person. You're fucking exhausted. I get it. Sis, I get it. But if you don't work on your relationship with your own femininity and heal your womanhood, you will likely for sure run into the same shit with the next partner and rinse and repeat. Maybe it'll be better, maybe it'll be worse depending who your partner is. But if you haven't changed, nothing is going to change. Some slight changes might happen, but no major shifts will happen. So while you may not feel as attracted to your man right now, I would ask yourself a few questions. Have you ever felt attracted to him? And obviously, when I say attracted, physical is part of it, but again, it's more than that. It's the pull you feel to him. It's the mental attraction. It's the emotional connection, the desire for him, the safety you feel when you're in his arms and in his presence, the way he makes you feel at peace and beautiful. Another question would be, have you ever seen him embody strong decision making, leadership qualities, strong boundaries? Another question would be, do you respect him truly? That's a really big question. I want you to sit on that one for a while. If you do not respect your man right now, there is a lot of work to do, because at the core of a masculine man is a man who is respected and feels respected by others, especially his female partner. If she does not respect him and look up to him in some ways, there are issues for sure. Not saying it can't be worked on. Of course, I believe a lot of things can be worked on, but you need to first and foremost acknowledge shit ain't right now. And it's okay. I mean, it's not okay, but it can be okay. And on the topic of assessing, your own relationship with your femininity, one way to assess that is through my feminine archetype quiz. The quiz is linked in this description, in this podcast, as well as on all my social accounts and my Beacons link. The quiz will take no more than 5 minutes, and you'll automatically receive tips on your specific feminine archetype, as well as weekly advice exclusively for the ladies in the inner circle. My weekly emails will also include client wins, inspirational stories, and overall support and guidance for you while you're on your feminine journey. And of course, I want to remind y'all that as we are nearing the end of 2023, I have been getting booked for my coaching program, and I have 2 spots left for my one-on-one coaching mentorship program for the remainder of the year. So essentially, I can enroll 2 more clients, and after that, I will be making some increases and changes for the upcoming year. So this is your sign. If you have been tuning in, if there's that voice inside of you that's really been considering working with me, just sign up for a free call. We can connect one-on-one. In that call, I'll get to know you a bit better, and I'll really be able to assess what's happening based on the information you share with me, and we can come up with a plan to help you reach your goals. That's it for today's episode, ladies. To summarize, while a man's looks definitely plays a role in our attraction to him, it's actually truly his masculine energy and presence and traits that will continue to draw you in. Also, a man may be masculine deep down, but if his female partner never or rarely operates in her feminine nature, he may have completely backed off and is now stuck in a bit of a feminine energy in the relationship. And that's definitely going to be causing conflict in your guys' relationship. And last but not least, all you can control is yourself, sis. If you truly work on your femininity, there's a very high chance your man will naturally revert back to a masculine energy, which again will help create that passionate, dynamic, safe, loving polarity in a relationship that we all deep down crave. I think we can acknowledge we all deep down crave it. I hope y'all enjoyed this episode. I'll see you all in 2 weeks.